Very good. So welcome everyone to our Economic Development and Marketing Committee. Our committee council members are Councilmember Albert Gonzalez from District 1, Vice Mayor Kelly Cox from District 2, and I represent the entire city. So we are the subcommittee of the City Council. This is going to be, all of you are our stakeholders, just in case you wanted to know who you were. You're all of our stakeholders with this committee, but I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask for roll call. Is that you,
Yes.
Rena?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chair Gilmore,
Here.
Member Cox, Member Gonzalez.
Here.
Thank you.
So we are being recorded on Zoom. We have the Zoom application going?
Correct.
Okay, so the Zoom application will notify you that this meeting's being recorded. Please press continue on the Zoom application to stay in the meeting. Use the raise your hand feature in Zoom where you would like to speak on an item, and also lower your hand when you're finished speaking. Please unmute yourself when called on to speak and mute yourself when you are done speaking. That applies to all of you here too. If you're calling by phone, identify yourself by name before speaking on an item. Press *9 on your phone to raise and lower your hand, and press *6 if you are participating by phone to unmute. Is that it? Do you have to
That
read
is.
something else?
That is it. So you can move on to the consent calendar.
Okay, so we're going to move on to approval of the consent calendar from April 28th, which was our first meeting of this committee. We have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We're going to start with public presentations, but you're going to have an opportunity to speak after each item. We're going to make this a real dialogue as opposed to like an official city council meeting. So we want actual conversation amongst each other. But are there any members of the public that would like to speak on an item that's not on the agenda?
I do not see any hands raised in Zoom.
Okay, I'm not going to be able to see anybody, so.
Correct. I do see a hand raised in the audience.
Oh, come to the microphone, please. Thank you. Thank you, Howie. All right, do we have any others that want
We
to speak?
do have another hand, a hand that's raised in Zoom.
Okay,
Debbie Triforos. Debbie,
Go
if
ahead,
you
Debbie.
would like to speak, if you will be allowed to.
Debbie, go ahead. Is she unmuted?
Able to talk to you.
There.
There you
Great.
go. Go ahead. Start all over, please.
All right. I couldn't hear anything he said. So I'm afraid that if anybody else is watching, they're not hearing anything. I can hear you, Lisa, but I didn't hear the hot dog guy.
Was the microphone on?
Let's see.
Maybe.
That's what I'm wondering.
Well, Debbie, stay on for a minute. We want to
Okay.
test.
Okay.
Maria, can you test the microphone?
Thank you, Debbie. We're gonna have you test something for us.
No.
Yeah, I didn't
Out the
hear
mic.
her. I didn't hear her at all.
Let's just test that to
Test,
make sure.
testing. Can you hear me, Debbie?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
very
for letting
much.
us know.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to get started. So good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Before we move any further, I'd like to take a moment to welcome each of you, not just as attendees of a meeting, but as stakeholders in our community. You are going to be the true architects of what we're going to build together with this committee and what we're going to do in 2026, which is such a unique opportunity for us to shine, around the world, and also to engage our community and to make it really fun and exciting for our city as well, especially our residents and our small businesses and large businesses, our educational institutions, and everyone that calls Santa Clara home. So when we formed this committee, we asked the staff to present us with some information, but not to develop a plan for us. I'm hoping that with all of us together collaboratively, we can build a plan together, because like I said, you are the community and you all represent different aspects of the community, business owners, cultural leaders, but we're going to call you all stakeholders now from this point going forward. So today really marks the beginning of something different. It's really going to be a community-driven process with your ideas, your expertise, and your vision that will really shape Santa Clara's economic development community for 2026. But we're also looking at beyond, because the engagements and the partnerships that we have with our community now through our businesses, our residents, our cultural, our religious groups, is really going to help us moving forward past 2026. So it's not like a one and done, event. We have a lot of economic development going on. We have our new economic development director, Rena Brio, which I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves. So before we do that, let's start around the room and talk about who you are, who you represent, or if you're a resident and you're part of the community, just tell us just a little bit about yourself so we get to know each other before moving forward. Let's start with Rena.
Yeah, hi, I'm Rena Brio, and I'm the Director of Economic Development and Sustainability for the City of Santa Clara.
Liz Klotz, Assistant City Manager.
Rabir Bhatia, I head up the Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce and the Santa Clara Business Council.
Anna Vargas Smith, Santa Clara Parade of Champions, and I wear a lot of other community hats, so
A bunch.
a bunch.
Christine Lawson, and I oversee Discover Santa Clara, the DMO for Santa Clara.
Patty Wong, City Librarian. I'm also a resident.
I'm Kelly Cox, Vice Mayor.
Introduce myself.
Albert Gonzalez, District 1 Council Member.
Preston Metcalf, Executive Director of the Triton Museum of Art.
David Curtis, I'm a resident as well as a coach for Santa Clara Youth Soccer and Westside Little League. I also sit as a commissioner on the Salary Setting Commission.
Satish Chandra, I was from District 1 resident, as well as I was been in a couple of committees earlier. So I'm here to serve the city again. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Glazer. I'm the provost at Santa Clara University and a professor of political science.
Could we start with our Diana? Would you like to come up, please? Eventually, we'll have seats for everyone as well.
Diana Ding. I'm the founder of Silicon Valley Community Media Ding Ding TV, the voice of Asian Americans for the last 15 years, and also a board member of Silicon Valley Sector Chamber.
I'm Howard, also known as the hot dog dude, out there in North Santa Clara, selling hot dogs in the middle of nowhere. I've been working here in the city of Santa Clara almost 25 years as a business up here in District 1. And we'll learn more about each other later.
Staff, yes.
Damon Sparacino, Parks and Recreation Director.
Kim Castro, Recreation Manager with City.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elia Kozak. This is my third day in Santa Clara. Probably you could hear it from my accent. I'm European, and I just graduated from Harvard University like 4 days ago, pretty much. I am delighted to be joining the team at the City Hall, the Office of the City Manager, to be helping with the communications plan for the events next year. And I'm looking forward to meeting you all. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alicia Knight. I'm Development Project Manager. I support the City Manager's Office, specifically with Liz Klotz and Rena Brio. Nice to meet you all.
Hi, I'm Janine De La Vega. I'm the Public Information Officer for the City of Santa Clara and the Director of Communications.
Hi, everyone. Maria Lett, Assistant to the City Manager, and I support most of the council committees.
Good afternoon. My name is Kelly Carr. I'm the General Manager for Oakview Group at the Santa Clara Convention Center.
Thank you. And online, I think we have at least Debbie. Those who.
Hi.
Yes, go ahead, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie Triforos, lifelong Santa Clara resident, library board trustee.
Is there
Thank
anyone
you.
else?
Yes, there are. Christian Palestia, would you like to say anything to introduce yourself? I'm gonna unmute you.
Hello, Christian Plekia, Santa Clara resident, Mission City Community Fund board member, and Santa Clara PAL board member.
Thank you. Caitlin Studebaker, I'm also going to allow you to speak if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Studebaker. I'm the Director of Marketing at Discover Santa Clara.
Yeah.
And Teresa O'Neill, I will unmute you to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm just observing. I'm just a community member interested in what's going to happen. Thank you.
Teresa, I sent you an invitation, but it kept bouncing back. I think I sent it from my city phone and nobody trusted that number. They didn't know. I sent out invitations and I got 10 people back saying, who is this? Are you a scammer? So yeah, I'm sorry, Teresa, you probably didn't get to you. Do we have anyone else?
We have no one else online.
Okay. So thank you. I'm already hearing about the depth and the connection and the knowledge that each of you bring to the table from different corners of our community. And I'm sure even in the future, if you see that there is an area where you would like to fill and invite someone else to this, please do so, because this is going to take a village to do what we're going to do in the next year. And it's going to take a lot of work, but it's going to be a lot of fun as well and a lot of engagement. So before we go into the staff report, I'd like to say that this is going to be probably different from any of the other city committees that we serve on, because I want this to be more conversational than it is actual committee meeting. So first, I want to say that this is your committee. My role as mayor is to chair and facilitate, and Albert's district is District 1, where most of the exciting activities are going to happen. Kelly's district is District 6, the other side of town, where we want to make sure we connect both sides, North and South Santa Clara, and everything in between. So the three of us are going to be here, but we're also going to, we understand that we have not predetermined anything, that this is going to be a discussion among this group, and you're going to be help be the decision makers in this. Our city staff are here. As you can see, we have a good selection. City staff from the different departments, they're going to be resource guides for us for whatever we need. And you know what? Disagreement's okay, and it's actually necessary when we talk about the things that we want to do. So I want everyone to feel free to give us your opinion, whether it's popular or not, it doesn't matter. Because I think that that's how we're going to get to the creative solutions that we need to get to. And finally, this only works if it's a collaboration, meaning that every voice matters here. Quiet people need to be heard as much as loud people like me, so, and some others around here that I know. But we want to make sure that everybody's heard throughout this whole process. So before we move ahead, I want to ask my colleagues if they would like to say a few words about what they see this committee is, how you see us moving forward, and how we're going to really guide what's going on in 2026. Do you want to start, Albert?
Yeah, I'll start. One of the things that we as a council, and I think I've heard some consensus of this as far as having Santa Clara really participate in the events in 2026 and not have these events happen to them, right? That they're really part of this and are benefiting from this in one way or another. And the other thing is making sure that we hear from our residents to see what it is that they want to see, in addition to the events, but possibly, concerts and other things that may be happening, and from our partners to see, hey, how can we work together to use, the different things that Santa Clara has to offer as far as the museums and maybe university to work together to benefit everybody, to make sure that Santa Clara is highlighted, but not only Santa Clara, but everybody who's part of Santa Clara. I think many of us, or all of you who are here, are part of Santa Clara. So I want to make sure that we can work together to get that done in a positive manner.
Thanks, Albert. Kelly?
Yeah, I'm excited to be part of a vision casting opportunity with all of us. When I look at what's already going forward with the Super Bowl and World Cup, I think one of the opportunities we have as Santa Clarans is the chance to put our name on it. You'll notice right now that they talk about the Bay Area, they talk about San Francisco, they talk about San Jose. I mean, they handed the football to San Jose. And so we got to get a little angry about that in a righteous way and start using this opportunity to put our name on things and really take this opportunity to highlight our city. I think that this collaborative group of stakeholders all represent different areas where we look at when we want to instill a sense of community pride and talk about what can we do within our city that is unique to us, that will get the community involved, that will make people want to participate, that from afar will have other people saying like Santa Clara is a great place to live. That's what this is about. And that's the onus that is on us here today to figure out how do we put our name on the map. And so it is a think tank right now. There is nothing that's too outrageous. And then like Albert said, the NFL is going to be able to tagline and FIFA a lot of stuff that are uniquely them. And so we have to look inward at what we do for our residents that often feel excluded from that big name marketing and say, when I look at my district, Stevens Creek, we've got a lot of little mom and pop stores, and how do they feel just as connected to what's happening as the big name places going on? So I'm really appreciative of the people who came here to help make that happen.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had the opportunity to be here during Super Bowl 50, and it was former council member Debbie Davis, who just passed, that Howard was talking about earlier, who ran the marketing and economic development committee. And during that time period is when Santa Clara we rebranded ourselves as the center of what's possible. And we came up with our super community events, and we actually hired an outside firm to help us with the rebranding. And I think we had some fellows from Harvard as well and to help us. And it was it was really an exciting time because it was such a big deal for us at the time to host Super Bowl 50. And everything that we did was the result of collaborative efforts of everyone that attended those meetings. It just wasn't the city council. In fact, it really wasn't the city council. It was, you know, the expertise that came together at that time. And I see us doing that now. We're a little more challenged because we have both Super Bowl and World Cup. You know, once we finish Super Bowl, we really have to go into World Cup. But we're a little bit, I'm going to say we're cutting the time real short on these things, because even though Super Bowl comes first, we still have to be working on World Cup because that's a longer, you know, period of time. Most of our residents will not be able to afford to go to the games, depending on, well, I know ticket prices at Super Bowl, depending on who we attract for World Cup. And I think we'll know maybe around December or so what countries we're going to get, but they may be priced out of there. So that's why it's so important for us to give them the opportunity to be involved as in part of the excitement. You know, our average age in Santa Clara is 34. Did you all know that? Yeah, 34. Yeah, make that, you know, figure that one out. So our events have to relate, you know, to different age groups as well. Because I see some of the stuff we have on our sheet that are things that we typically do, you know, may or may not be attractive to a large part of our community. So we really have to think outside the box on what is going to be attractive and to get people to want to be involved, because they're all proud that Santa Clara is hosting these major events. They're very proud of it, but they want to be involved some way, somehow. So if we can, you know, provide a smorgasbord of events that they can get involved in, I think it'll really benefit our community, especially in the long run, for people that feel so disengaged with us and these events that are happening. And, you know, here at City Hall, everyone's busy trying to work out the logistics of public safety and all and this is a heavy lift. It's a heavy lift for just one of these events. But now we have like 7 Super Bowls, 6 World Cup games, and a Super Bowl. It's a huge lift for us. So we're providing the heavy lift, but we also need to provide a benefit to our residents. So that's really why we're here. So I think the question that we want to explore together today and in the future, and we are planning on, staff's going to love this, but we're planning on having these meetings, you know, probably now at least every couple of weeks until we get, you know, these events planned. You're laughing, Howard. Yeah. Next time, bring hot dogs, please. So our question that we want to explore really is, what would economic vitality and community engagement look like in Santa Clara if we got it right in 2026? What does it look like? That's why I'd like you to really start thinking about that. But let's look at currently where we are. And I'm going to ask our staff to go into their staff report. And I just want to preface it by saying that a lot of these events that they're going to talk about in the engagement opportunities are things that we're currently doing that will probably, you know, enhance. We're going to enhance, you know, these events. But what we're going to really look for in this committee is not only ideas on enhancing them, but new ideas for people to be involved in the community. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Liz.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
And, you know, as the mayor was saying, that this is really for idea generation. We have some suggested ideas, and we're here just for a free flow of discussion on what we've proposed. And I do want to thank all the stakeholders. We understand all your time is valuable, and we appreciate your commitment to the city and ensuring that we have an extraordinary 2026. So we did meet this past April, to kind of provide a strategic framework for the committee on community activation and event support for 2026, which included discussion of a major events task force, or the stakeholder group for cross-sector collaboration. We want to emphasize inclusive engagement, engage our public and ensure some civic pride, and also have global visibility with all these events coming to our city. And we want to make sure that our city is ready for these high-profile events. The purpose of today's meeting, we want to encourage creative input and collaborative engagement among our stakeholders. We're going to review the priorities that the committee will discuss on economic development and community programming. And then we're going to hopefully align on a unifying theme or a process to develop a theme for our city. And then we'll just discuss next steps and how we create a timeline for these events. So the role of the stakeholder group is to support strategic implementation of community engagement and economic initiatives tied to 2026. We're going to focus on program development, coordination, fundraising and sponsorship, and then communication outreach and strategy. We understand that each of your groups, you have a specific, unique access to community, and kind of having a shared communication throughout the city will be a great way to unify our message. Just a quick looking back at 2016, the 2016 Super Community Campaign, that was the theme for back then for Super Bowl 50. There was a citywide branding and civic engagement. There were partnerships similar to all the groups that are here today and sponsors. There was an emphasis on pride, safety, and accessibility for our residents. Here, this wasn't the updated one, but we have a list of updated community engagement highlights. There's the Super Community Concert and Fireworks Show. There were youth sports programs available. We had a volunteer ambassador program for people to be able to volunteer and participate. We had a community resource portal. There's also branding throughout the city. The other events, there was a concert, a community concert and festival that also occurred. So for the city, there's some strategic priorities. I think one is the communications and city branding. This will ensure there's cohesive messaging and a media strategy for the city. There's the community engagement and activities. This will ensure that our public is engaged in events and feels part of the 2026 when they're not able to attend those big games. And then there's also economic development, supporting our local businesses, our tourism, and also potential sponsorship opportunities from our businesses. We do need to come up with a branding campaign, and staff has gotten together and kind of came up with a few ideas as a starting point. These are just suggestions, and we welcome the committee and stakeholders to kind of provide input as well. One is Santa Clara, where the world kicks off. Santa Clara, get your kicks in 2026. Santa Clara, 2026, the world plays here. And I think the world one is interesting because, I mean, we are, the center of technology. We're the center of these big events. There's a lot of ways to kind of highlight that for the city and kind of use that as a play on not just the games, but also on what the city is to the world itself. So we can talk about that during the discussion. And then here are some of the suggested activities that we've kind of highlighted from a staff level of things that we can amplify that we're already doing in the city. One, in June, we're actually partnering with the Bay Area Host Committee. We're having a plaque unveiling. So that's probably our first actual kickoff event for FIFA. And then in September, we're hoping to do something at the Art and Wine Festival, maybe have a booth out there to kind of start promoting the events. October is our Parade of Champions and talking with the parade organizers, potentially putting a big sports zone to kind of highlight the activities out in the parade festival area. In December, we have the tree lighting, so that's something we might be able to capitalize on as well. Maybe a community chalk art contest so that our youth can kind of get engaged. And we already do a chalk art contest, but maybe we have it surrounding one of the big events. And then having maybe a sports themed exhibit at the Triton that we've had in the past. And I know Preston's here, so hopefully, this is something we can try to get done. We also have the Firehouse Run in April, and so trying to find ways to maybe engage that as part of the events. And then we're looking at maybe doing a night market. We recognize during FIFA, there's going to be 2 weeks of games, and people are going to be staying in town, and they're going to be wanting to watch the other games, or they're going to be wanting to, have something to do. And so being able to engage the community, our own community, right, by having a night market, but also for those visitors that are in town during that time period. Others is watch party for the FIFA games. This is it's subject to licensing. So if we get the licensing, we can potentially do, and there is going to be a process for that. And so we will be working to see if we can get licensing for a potential watch party in the city. And then other events, Santa Clara City Library events, they were very active in 2016. And so hopefully engaging, they did a STEM bowl. There was lots of just having ongoing, maybe reading times with the athletes, book clubs, things like that. And then a concert for the community is another option. And then free youth sports and STEM camps, clinic programs for our youth in the city. And then we're also looking at doing some banners and community wayfinding for the community as well to kind of tie in the whole theme together. Some suggested economic development activities, maybe a Santa Clara Restaurant Week to kind of highlight our restaurants throughout the city. Collaborate with the DMO on some destination marketing for the city, sponsorship packages, and also engaging with our tech community on some type of maybe showcase or some type of event. Those are some of the ideas with the economic development. We really do think partnering with our businesses and the chamber and the DMO, we can help showcase the city as a destination for business and for travel and events. So here's some suggested discussion questions just to kind of, do the proposed activities align with our goals? Are there additional partners or events we should also consider for the city? Other stakeholders that you think maybe we would want at the table? And then thinking about a theme that resonates most with our community. So some next steps after our meeting today, we'll try to schedule another meeting as soon as we can, hopefully refine an activation plan based on our feedback today, develop a detailed implementation roadmap on how we get these events done, identify leads for each major activity, and then launch a theme and branding campaign by the fall of this year. And that's all I had. So yeah, we can start a discussion.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz. Does anybody have questions for Liz in the report, Satish?
This is fantastic, actually, the presentation. Couple of things I was looking as part of a suggestion. Last year, somebody brought me up that this is going to be in our Santa Clara. But as a Santa Clara resident, how do you feel proud of it, right? So one suggestion I would say that can we have an residents appreciation day within the stadium, wherein everybody has a chance within the zip codes, whatever they reside in, and make sure they can come and they can see and they feel part of it. That's one thing. Second thing was as part of the FIFA World Cup, right? Even the exhibition matches or the real matches, they do have kids walk with the players. So can we have our local soccer club kids like Lions FC and Sporting, there is a Sporting one also. I don't remember the exact one, but so this is the suggestions that this would rejuvenate the people that they're getting more involved and be part of it. That's my suggestions I would like to offer. Thank you.
Yeah, those are Kelly. Did you? Oh, anyone else have a question or comment about that report? Yes, please.
At the university, we've actually started to think a little bit about this. It happens that the first game of the FIFA of the World Cup is June 13th, which coincides with the commencement at the university. So we've actually had a visit already from the some public safety folks to give us a heads up that there's going to be limited support for our own event. I think the university would be very interested in dreaming with you and thinking with you about some of the events and hosting them on the campus if possible. But we do have to think about what the resource allocation is going to be for things like public safety and also the expense of visitors, hotels, Ubers, the kinds of costs that our families are going to experience when they're here at that particular time, and that guests are going to experience. So I am very excited to sort of see the panoply of ideas. I do want to sort of throw in there that there are going to be some additional challenges with doing some of those extra things.
Yeah, Habir.
A couple of things that I think we have like a giant list, so I don't want to just dump that on everybody, but I see there's a lot of alignment. The one thing that comes to our mind is that how do we do it more with less? Meaning we have all these amazing assets, we have youth clubs, we have our, so, and when I always think about the mayor, you had given that data last year, that 56% of the revenue went to SF or San Francisco, 12% was us and 20-something was San Jose. So the thing that's coming in our mind is how do we keep our people here from going into San Francisco? So I think we're very open to other ideas as well, but our goal is how do we give our community places to go, be here, don't drive up to San Francisco. And number two, also, how do we attract people to see us as a regional area for the games? Because of serious difference in size and capacity, people don't believe that we have so much to offer. So I think we can really change the optics by utilizing what we already have and activating what we already have, so we can show that we're doing more without actually doing more.
I think you brought up a good point, because I think the focus of this committee is not just going to be resident engagement and activities for residents and other things. It's really it's also highlighting our city to the world and why they should be here and experiencing, you know, our businesses and our way of life here in Santa Clara. So it's a twofold engagement here. I think we can't lose sight of that, because I think by letting everyone know, and I'll tell you, I think we're going to let people know that live here what Santa Clara has to offer. I don't think we all know. I talk to people and say, oh, have you gone over there? Oh, I don't go on that side of town. Like, it's amazing that people don't know everything that we have to offer. So we're going to be educating a lot of people and communicating. And I think that's important. Christine?
I'm not used to working with a microphone because I'm loud. It's interesting what you said, and Habir and I have spoken. Caitlin's on the phone and will be here in future meetings. And we have an activation plan, which we can share when appropriate, and adjust as needed. Besides what you're saying, I think a huge opportunity for us through the PR and the cons, and we've talked with Janine and talking with our agency of record, is how do we bring people back? Like, how do we use this? How do we stand on the shoulders of these two events to kind of highlight what our city's about? And that's what we're looking at is, you know, how do we use this to actually attract people to the games and stay and share a wallet, but then come back?
One thing I'd like to ask ourselves too is, what is it about our economic landscape that's really working now? And where is there untapped potential that we have to look into as well? David, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, so a couple of things. I think one of the things that we can do is really make this affordable to the community that's here. That way we get more people involved. I'm on a lot of sports boards and I see what people are talking about, saying, we're not going to stay in Santa Clara, we're going to San Francisco and we're going to San Jose. So we have to, as a team here, think of something different that San Jose and San Francisco aren't going to do. If we just mimic and copy what they do, it's not going to succeed. But maybe we bring, since we have a good community here with kids and everything else, bringing things. So maybe there's events, I'm throwing this out, that are $50. Maybe there's some free events that we do that are sponsored by somebody, so everybody could come in and feel part of this. You hear people arguing that I didn't vote for this in 24, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. Well, take that away and say, hey, we're one community now. How can we get everybody involved? And as I said, most of the time it starts with the kids. The kids are going to be the ones that say, I want to go to this. And the parents are going to go, oh, I don't want to go to San Francisco. I don't want to drive to San Jose. But if we had some great events here that really focus on some of the kids, maybe some of the things that Satish talked about, maybe there's some options where they come to the event and you use some kind of a raffle or something where they could be a ball kid is what it is. That might help out. I think also taking advantage of like signage. I don't know what signage we can have coming off of Bowers on 101, but driving down to the stadium, you know, we have posts there, you have light posts. Can we sell some of that stuff to fund some of these events that we have? That would be something, because that's going to give them, everybody has to come down that way, either that way or coming off of 237. So some things we should think about there that we own, that that FIFA or the NFL are going to say, we can't do that because we own the rights. But I think there's a lot we can do with the community. I think people are really excited, but it has to be economically viable for everybody. And I think that starts with the kids. Bring the kids in.
Last time in 2016, 2016, we had sponsored concerts at Santa Clara University and Mission College, and they were sponsored and they were free for Santa Clara residents to attend. And we had like a fair there, and there was thousands of people there. It was really fun. But it was free to Santa Clara residents, but it was sponsored, of course. So of course, sponsorships are so important for all kinds of things. So anyone else, ideas?
I wanted to
Yes,
bring up,
Anna.
since echo what David was saying. Sorry, my voice is going, but one of the DNA events of Santa Clara since 1945 has been the Santa Clara Parade of Champions. I know many of you are familiar with it. I am a history geek, and one of the things that got me hooked on the parade as a kid was participating as a kid. It's like one of the few events where kids can be seen and heard and celebrated. And of course, across all generations, it's a very multi-generational event. But what's really important about the parade is, because of our sponsors, it's free. And so we fundraise all year round to make sure that that tradition continues in Santa Clara, that it remains free to the public to attend. But it also has a component for small business. There's a village, we had 60 vendors last year, where they can have one-on-ones with the public, and the public gets to see the small businesses throughout Santa Clara. It's not just the downtown where we're located, but throughout Santa Clara. There was live music component. There's a contest for the marching bands and the dance and drill teams, and so they feel fully engaged and seen as well. I think one of the most successful things about the parade, since I can remember, I know Lisa's been in it, 11 times or something, growing up here in Santa Clara. Yeah, long time ago. Was just kids have like a path to learn about their community and engage with all the stakeholders all at once on a single day. So I think the parade is an excellent opportunity to include everybody here, and I invite everybody here to show up. Last year, we had about 12,000 people. So I think if we make this an even bigger event, it's been known to be 40,000 people throughout its history, so, and even the second largest parade in the state of California at one point. So this is a tremendous opportunity to offer a free event to the public and to really get to know what Santa Clara is all about. Because a lot of people have a hard time explaining what does Santa Clara look like, what's Santa Clara like. Well, if you show up to the parade, you'll definitely see what everybody's there. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity to be part of it and to help sponsor this and make it even bigger than it's ever, or maybe the way it used to be, as big as it used to be, would be great. So I invite you all to participate.
One last thing, if you remember when World Cup was here at Stanford, you had, did a lot of events, went to a lot of events in Los Gatos. So that was a smaller city, but nobody would, they had one hotel at that time, the Toll House, I think. So they brought a lot of people in. Maybe we should take a look at also what they did right, what they did wrong, because it was packed every single night for like 7 days. So something to look at maybe as well as we start looking at this as a committee is there stuff we could mimic that they did well and don't reinvent the wheel?
And just to add to something you said, one of the things we were thinking, because I understand we have to watch the public safety costs, was to think about the pre and post events. That we do a big celebration to kick it off, which doesn't then eat into our funding and our needs for during the times, is also a closing event, which again, we can own it because it's our region. It can be anything we want and based on the resources available to us. One of the pre-events we were thinking was a youth soccer cup that I don't think it's happened because I couldn't find any research or data on this. But, for us to start a tradition, and that could be something that even becomes a legacy if we choose it to, because soccer is so much a part of our community here. And then, as a closing, again, the reason I bring that up because the mayor asked what's other things that we can consider is the pre and post. How do we create value out of that? And the post could be a closing parade. We would love it because we love the flags, to do an international village or an international flags parade. Again, that's something we can own as a city because El Camino is right here. And after the games are done, we can decide the narrative, we can design whatever we need, but it then brings attention back to us without the burden, all of it during the games.
Right, because during the actual events, we won't have any resources, as you were talking about during graduation and other things. If there's a game that day, everything we do is going to have to be leading up to, and then post, and then that time period between Super Bowl and World Cup, I mean, is going to be really important, Satish.
So a couple of things what David was saying is, I think we can use a platform for revenue generation, like because the scrolls when the FIFA World Cup happened within the stadium, right? In the same manner, we can have LED or certain kinds of billboards where we can generate revenue to the city surrounding to the one of the common places. And maybe we can look into it whether we can generate the revenue, because the advertisements within this one, because you will have huge crowd, a lot of TV stations worldwide are going to look into it, and probably we can look at how we can generate the revenue with a certain kind of advertisements, which we can take it outside the perimeter of the stadium, and maybe we can benefit for the city, just a thought process. Thank you.
Howard, go ahead. Yeah, if you want to come, I'm sorry, the seats are, please come to the microphone. Yeah. Or, yeah. There you go. Thanks, Diane.
Yeah, you're talking about branding the city, get to know the city, hire these high-end people to figure it out. City already has a motto. Santa Clara, America's city. I remember going down in the flags all along
America City.
Great
There it is on the
America,
wall.
Lafayette. And I look, I go, that's right, it's America's city. You're looking at people all around the world watching and everything. And here we are thinking, oh yeah, kick off kids and no, America, Santa Clara, America's city. That way the guy in Dublin knows Santa Clara is America's city, not San Francisco, not San Jose, Santa Clara. And you already own it. You don't even have to pay thousands of dollars to a guy from Harvard. Hot Dog University just saved you thousands of dollars. How about that one?
It's unique, Howard.
Try. I did like that, though. I used to drive around seeing that everywhere.
It's the posters on the wall in 2001. Santa Clara became an all-American city. All America, is it All America? All America City, right?
It does bring something to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Howard. Go ahead, Diana.
Thank you for this opportunity. I think it's really exciting that our city have this opportunity. Let's think how to keep people in our city, and also how to leverage what's going on in the city, because many people in our community leaders are already organizing events, but how to leverage that, because cities always lack of hands resource, I believe. So we can work together. We are organizing Asian American Stories video contest every year. It's becoming bigger and bigger. And this year and last year, we had over 100 contestants, and we work with over 40 Asian American organizations. We host that in Milpitas currently, but I'm thinking bring it back to Santa Clara, maybe convention center or somewhere. And I'm serious thinking about that, because this is my city. So I would like to bring that back to our city. We can think about how to leverage these opportunities and work together. Another thing I'm thinking about is this is a good opportunity to promote our city. So can we create an opportunity for the social media influencers? Because they can post the pictures, sending out videos, create a content, promote our city. Maybe we give a name of story of Santa Clara, or Santa Clara story, or whatever, what's possible, Mission City story, or anything. Encourage the influencers, key opinion leaders to come to our city and promote our city together and create stories for us. I'm still thinking, but I think that would be a very good opportunity to use. Thank you.
I think that's really great, because back in back in the day, Super Bowl 50, we didn't rely on social media as much as we do today
Really important. Yeah.
to get the message out. And so it wasn't really part of our marketing plans and communication plans at the time. So things definitely have changed. And we really need to do that now. I think it's for this, Liz, go
I
ahead.
just want to jump in on something that Diana said as well, that she's already planning events. And I think a lot of people are already planning events. And I think that's why it's important to get our stakeholder group, because we don't want to plan competing events, right? We want to make
No.
sure that we're not dividing the city up so that everyone's event is successful. And so I think it's really important to have these conversations and understand what people are thinking and planning so that we can make sure we have that right balance for the city.
That's a really good point, because I like to know what the events are, so we all know, so we can maybe help enhance them and advertise them and communicate. Because when Preston was telling us, he sent us an email about the soccer ball. Tell us about that. I thought, wow, that's great, but everyone
Yes,
needs to
well,
know this.
We've been thinking about this for quite some time. And we are planning an exhibition at the Triton Museum of soccer balls that we're giving to 25 noted regional artists who will then paint, sculpt, recreate, reinterpret those soccer balls as art, which will all be on display at the Triton from mid-May through mid-August. So we hope to be able to promote this as one more activity venue that people can go to. Of course, the advantage is lead to our second benefit for the city. The Triton Museum of Art is local. It's free. There's plenty of free parking, and that leads to the venue. We are also available both for city-sponsored events. As you know, the Triton's a private nonprofit, but the city owns the building. And so we try to make that accessible for these types of events, and also for other parties coming in that may want to rent a venue for a party or a dinner or an event. I know there's the Triton, there's the Convention Center, there may be venues at Santa Clara University. There's a lot of resources right here, and you won't have to go to Los Gatos to have some wonderful activities. We just need to let people know that they're happening.
Really good point.
I wanted to highlight, I actually had a text from someone about the Silicon Valley barbecue thing. Again, this happens every year, you know. It was an incredible event. It was like 30,000 people would show up over the weekend, and it had something for everyone. There was the beer and wine garden, there was championship teams, there was dancing, there was art, it was like the art and wine, but different. And Central Park is a great venue. It's beautiful, and it sort of represents everything that's great about our park system in Santa Clara. And maybe people don't know how great our park system is, but that can hold a ton of people without having to be at the Levi Stadium. So it's something to consider.
I think it's great. I think what where we need to go is, first of all, we need to talk about bringing all our resources together, and we need to brand ourselves. We need to brand these events, whatever they are. So we need to put our creative hats on, which I don't really have one, but I know all of you do. Then we have to look at what partnerships we have, especially for sponsoring and other things. How can we partner with those that maybe have resources that can help us do this? Look at the events and the venues of where we can have them. We might have some large and small events. There might be a 10K run and, you know, a cocktail party, and I think Vice Mayor had some ideas about what she wanted to do. And I'm sure Albert does too, what we can do in the future. I know that San Jose has, and I think somebody said don't, I think it was David that said don't copy San Jose, but there was a DJ that is friends with one of the gals, she wasn't able to come today, that she said, we'll bring this famous DJ in, find a venue somewhere, and, you know, have this like party outside. I don't know who it is. I think it was before the earthquake one, but anyways, I'm just, it's an example. I'm not saying that person, but what I'm saying is that, and that's for the younger generation and things like that, yeah.
Well, I think
Go ahead.
So as I listen, I wonder if we move forward as it wouldn't be beneficial. I almost like see a Venn diagram coming forward. It seems like the ideas come from really what are we doing for our own people to instill pride? And with that, we really need a sense of activating symbolism. We were talking about like, you know, what does homecoming feel like? To have, you know, a shrine bowl or an alumni bowl and bring people back into these venues, to have hometown parades. Then there's the other piece of this that's really about economic development. Well, people are here, how do we capitalize on that? And then there's going to be this little part of overlap where we can use both our community activation and the outside tourism of it. And so I think as we start to plan this out, we really have to intentionally identify, is what we're talking about right now community facing and about us? Is this capitalizing on economics right now? Or is this something that's going to happen for both of those groups collectively? I think that'll help us really identify the target group and the intentionality that we're coming with. But yeah, you know, I just finished a book, knee deep in symbolism here, but if we can capitalize on this sense of hometown pride, I think that's what, and you know, if I was to say, where would I land? I definitely am somebody who wants to leverage that part of my creative thinking. I want to talk about what gets our community involved. How do we get the residents to participate? I'm not as good at like the economic development, but you know, certainly can we create passports and restaurant tours? But it does need to have, I think when I was talking about like how exciting it would be to have like a prom again, you know, bring the residents of Santa Clara back to the prom. And you've got your, you know, your Wilcox, and it doesn't need to be reductive that it's just those teams or Santa Clara University, whoever, but our alumni, our noted people playing in a bowl or like a soccer game. And then it caps off with what we did when we were in high school that was so beautiful. You have a parade and your hometown is displayed and you have a dance. And so I know that's kind of cheesy, but that's where I roll and it would be fun. So. But and I think that the point though is, as I hear the ideas, we really are talking about very different things. We're talking about how do we activate and make money? How do we give back to our community? Both of those are going to cost us in different ways, and where do they overlap?
Mayor, I'll just say one more thing before, I don't know what time this closes, but just so keeping you all informed, we've launched our own thing called the Games Committee because we think there are going to be ongoing programs at the city that we need to utilize to empower our community with economically. And in that, it will be a place for not only Santa Clarans to participate, but other cities as well. And we think that's important because we don't want competing events with our city. So we are hoping that that will also be a tool to other cities to collaborate because they're coming and asking us, well, what do you guys have as ideas? And what made sense to us was to be able to have a community calendar for even them. So then our stuff is very clear and then they don't hold an event the same day. So then they can get the benefit and as a collective, we keep people down in South Bay than leaving up there. That's number one. Second thing, just for informing, so we can see how I'm happy to figure out how you guys would like to leverage that. We have a Silicon Valley, it's called Silicon Valley's Community and Business Directory or Silicon Valley Guide that will be called a special edition, the Guide to the Games. And of course, the biggest portion of that will be about Santa Clara. And then others can be able to have different sections in it. We think that's also a way for us to promote our city and also ensure that we're coordinated and not like piling on top of each other in terms of schedules. And it'll be going to all the embassies and to all the chambers of commerces that we are connected with locally and internationally. So I hope that can be a platform of use as well to, you know, showcase what we're doing, but also highlight to others the opportunities of Santa Clara. So I think we're talking, huh?
Yeah. So we can all talk about that as well.
Perfect.
Figure out how that all works out. I was thinking just to add to what Kelly was saying too about the community also, again, I know I'm hammering this, the pre, during and post. Because I obviously at the DMO, besides the marketing and the brand building for the city, you know, we're looking at high-end media and meeting planners to really get that business back. So, you know, ensuring probably between post Super Bowl, pre FIFA, Caitlin and I and our hotel partners in the convention center will work on a FAM, a familiarization trip with key media and meeting planners to really get people in here to see the ecosystem and get more business to the city. And I don't know if Mayor would be open, but I think a really high-end media tour would be great. Again, kind of here's what we're doing from a perspective closer to, and I think actually post everything. So that during, and post. And Caitlin and I could work with our agency of record, obviously Janine and the city have probably, but really looking at high-end B2C media and having the mayor go around and really talk about, this is what we're planning, then there's the during, and we can deal with all the local media and international media, and then post, how do we kind of maintain that glow and get the return to the city?
And we really have to have our ducks in order to
Yeah,
do that.
we do.
And that's, I think, where this committee can be really helpful to us to have that happen, because we can't create it as we go.
No.
No, we cannot. So
Are we allowed to use a space between the two events, the field?
That's where I'm going to ask staff to help us on this, because I remember the restrictions
That's what
of
we want to do for the.
every restriction. You can't use Super Bowl. Can you use World Cup? You can't use this. You can't use that. You can't. We can use the university. We were able to use Mission College, but there was a lot of don'ts, So I think for this committee to understand where our limitations are in terms of how we communicate, and even with our taglines and other things, we have to be, cognizant of the fact that we don't want to get sued.
Yeah,
So,
that's something
yeah.
I'll work with the stadium staff to make sure we have some guidelines, right, of
Right.
what the terminology we can use. Were you talking about using the field or just, oh, so she was asking about the actual field rather than the
'Cause I know
terminology.
it's a question of the field, the grass being ruined. If we can have an event on there as a
Yeah.
city.
We were talking to them about with the FAM trip, about doing some kind of event. Either after the Super Bowl, there's talk about how right when the NFL moves out, there's that period of time where you can play on the grass, or maybe have something on the sidelines. So for the FAM, which of course we can all talk about, we were just going to put together a kind of an overview of what we'd like to do. But right now we were told they don't know yet. But if we could do something like that, it would be super fun, like to even have like a fun touch
Mhm.
football, you know what I mean? Or just have former.
Yeah,
players.
so those opportunities we need to know what they are.
Yeah.
So we can try to do that.
Just real quick,
Yes.
just not to
Yeah.
discount our diverse community that we have here, but one thing we might want to look at we have people from over 50 countries here.
Mhm.
You have people, I'll go from Howie, somebody coming from Dublin that may not experience all the food and the culture.
Yeah.
So one nice thing to bring people from outside there is maybe you do something more cultural, different food, different events. And I think that would bring people in as well. So just something to think about there. That would be different than San Francisco and San Jose.
Yeah, we're really known for our diverse restaurants, especially all the mom and pops all over town. You could just eat your way across Santa Clara. I mean, it's just fantastic. So,
So I got the approval, I can talk about this. So we were thinking about something similar. Again, I don't want to go through every item, but it celebrates Silicon Valley's International Food Fest because we have all that here, or just celebrate Silicon Valley's because the world comes here, but now I think the place here is even better. So absolutely, and having different pavilions, one could be Asia, one's Africa, one's the Americas. And everybody would have to come to Santa Clara, especially our own people would come to Santa Clara because nobody else is going to think of something like that.
So one thing to add on is once we come to know the countries who are going to participate the local in the FIFA, it's better to work with the ambassadors of those particular countries to see how we can enhance and enable this kinds of partnership also. That would be a good idea for recognition of Santa Clara within those countries, because that would be the major crowd coming to the FIFA 6 matches. So.
I did want to point out, Debbie Triforos, you have your hand up. I'm going to allow you to speak so you can join the conversation. Debbie, you should be
Okay,
able
I'm
to speak.
on.
yeah.
I've been thinking a little bit, and I know that when my children were small, anytime they could enter an art contest and have it on display, that room was so packed full of parents, you couldn't hardly move. Are we gonna work with the school district in any way where they could, could sponsor an art contest, asking the kids, what do you like about living in Santa Clara? What's nice about Santa Clara? It might force the parents who don't really know a lot about where they're living to look into it. And do some artwork, maybe have a prize depending on age group, elementary, middle school, high school, and then have like a little art show. I mean, something that I think it would get I know parents love to be involved with their kids in this city. I see it every time, especially at the library. They're just, it's a big family thing. So it's just a thought I had, is maybe getting parents more in tune with the city by this, or some kind of a project for the children.
I think that's a really good point. And we did invite the school district to attend today. So there's no one here today, but let's hope they come. We'll make sure we reach out again for them. But I think that in Super Bowl, the last one, the library was a big resource for us. Patty?
We,
Yes.
with IT, actually, we supported the STEM Bowl. So that had maybe about, I think, 50,000 people came through.
Yeah, it was
a
amazing.
lot. It was a lot. It involved the entire
Yes.
city, but primarily IT and the library in terms of making that happen. We did get funds from NFL though, just to let you know.
You got funds from where?
The NFL,
Oh,
we did at that time.
yeah.
I know, times have changed.
Times have changed. But I think it just highlights the importance of, like, a majority of our community, all the events, all the attendance runs through the library. Like, all of our libraries are packed with young families and children. And we really have to engage, that part of our community.
We have about 800,000 people who come through the library every year. So Debbie, thanks for shouting
Yes.
out about the library. We definitely could help. I know Diana, we've talked a little bit about elevating our children and making sure that we can promote them. So we could do the art contest with the school district, and then we could have the celebration at the libraries. Dedicate that way.
Do you see having like a STEM bowl or something that includes STEM?
We could easily, again, I think it would require a teeny bit of resources that we're not aware of yet, but
Okay.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure out the money part. That comes later. Oh, by the way. Minor detail. Oh.
Just I
yes,
was going to add just
yes.
one thing we had talked about at the DMO, and was it Debbie on the phone? Is that the name? Sorry.
Debbie, yeah.
Debbie, about the kids, was a community mural or something commemorating, the games. And, Kayla and I were talking about like where could something like this happen, but that seems like that would be really fun with the kids, coming up with like being part of creating this, a mural that's around the games and the community that kind of lives for forever and has Instagram, aspects to it and social aspects, but that might be a fun thing to do.
For high school have done it before. You can learn a lot from them. Can I just bring this up, the tech side of it, of the corporations? From a corporation's perspective, what we'd like to do, and I think I brought this up in our panel last year, a couple of three things, and you and I both talked about it, Christine, afterwards, but is that we have our corporations or larger corporations who have physical spaces, light them up in different colors. It's a low lift for them. It's Silicon Valley Power. We're really blessed using LEDs, but light them up in different colors on the pathway that leads to the stadium. So this way, it's less burden on the city financially, and they get to showcase themselves. So everybody needs sponsorship. Nobody's getting good PR these days in corporate. So this is a great way. And then secondly, we hope to ask them to do demo days to showcase what's happening in their company, because Santa Clara is truly the center of everything, right? I mean, the Silicon started here. And so that's an area we think could be of great value to the city, and financially, as well as bringing our own people out. And we would have to do less as a city, and it would be their abilities to light up their building into whatever colors we want to suggest. So it's sponsorship for them, it's visibility for them, it beautifies our city, and it gets people to still come to tech and have tours and stuff.
I'm going to ask Rena this because you were in community development. Do we allow, I thought we did last time, allow businesses to wrap their buildings? Do we allow that?
Super graphics. We actually should change the sign code to allow super graphics, but I believe that's already kind of something in process that we're trying to accommodate.
Okay, because I know that was really popular too back then.
Ooh, I like that idea. That's cool.
Gotta go here.
Well, I had more questions about the STEM Bowl, but we can talk about it offline at a different time. I mean, since my boss's boss is here, I don't want to overcommit, but you know, we have the largest undergraduate STEM facility and just a beacon of everything beautiful. And so I'd like to know more if we're interested in doing a STEM Bowl again and really talk about, you know, I have incredible TAs and students and faculty members who may be interested in volunteering in some capacity. Again, I don't want to overcommit to anything, but if that was an experience worth revisiting, I certainly would be willing to put in some of the legwork on that. But I didn't participate and I don't understand necessarily what it was. So I need to learn a little bit more.
We'll get you a briefing and then we can talk about collaboration.
Mayor Gilmore, I
Yes,
have a
go ahead.
question. So is this, everything we're doing in this team, this committee, self-funded, or is there a budget for any of this?
We're gonna have to work hard to get some money.
I know, I think budget.
We have to see what we're gonna do. And I know the city and the staff is gonna say, let's do it. There's no money. But I'll tell you, we're gonna have to prioritize something in our budget for this because our community deserves it.
Yeah.
You know, again, we're taking on the heavy lift. So we deserve some benefits for our residents, and we'll try to get things sponsored as much as we can, like they did in the past. I think it was DevCon that sponsored the concerts and other things. So, you know, we're just going to have to rely on the community helping us. But at the end of the day, last time it did cost us a couple million for the events that we had in the city.
Is it possible in one of the upcoming meetings, not now, to see kind of what the budget was and what was spent? So
Yeah, can we get that? Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes,
could bring
we can.
the last events budget in, and then we can talk about what maybe the cost would be for some of the events that we're talking about today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Mayor?
But, yes,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Can we work with within the vicinity of the stadium? You have Great America Parkway, Park, and you have the soccer stadium, and you have the convention, and there is a new development comes in. Can we have some theme-based, some kind of a revenue generation for those days where the FIFA World Cup is happening, so that we can definitely have some kind of an exhibition or some kind of a place where, you know, we can do a good revenue generation in those areas, working with
With the businesses there?
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think in that area, when you guys talked about a night market, you know, which would be happening during the actual event. So we would capitalize on tourism in that. We need it to be in a central area close to the stadium like that.
Yeah.
That's a great food
Yeah, it's
trucks
not gonna
and-
Yes, food
happen.
trucks.
No,
It
none
won't
of,
happen on
Okay.
Great America's.
no, because there's a clean zone or a security zone that's gonna probably be even bigger. What the interesting part is now there's residents living in that zone, so that's gonna be challenging. We didn't have that before. But they're gonna not let us advertise or do anything in the area around. So could we also get from staff what the restrictions are? And especially in terms of the dates, when I know Super Bowl is maybe a week before or 10 days before, and then World Cup, I have no idea how big that area is gonna be. They already know what it is, how big that area is gonna be and when it starts.
I just wanted to add, I think it was so great that Diana brought up social media and influencers and young people, and none of them are here today.
Diana's here.
Diana's an
What are
influencer,
you
and that's why
talking
she
about?
brought it up.
Diana's here.
That's right. So minus Diana. But I think that there's this great opportunity for stories and people to sell Santa Clara and to do some cool social media campaign that our own people feed into, so that when people check out Santa Clara, California, all this amazing stuff comes up. So I don't know how to make that happen, but that's why we can engage, some people who are the experts in that, because there definitely is a new platform since the last Super Bowl, and it can be rather affordable if we get it right.
But it's creating the deliverables on that. That is important because we have to start one tagline. What is it? And then everything that flows from that. So that's what this committee has to decide. What's it going to be? And then maybe somebody can create it for us, the visual of what it is. So I'm hoping by the next meeting, if you come back, hopefully you'll come back, please come back, that we talk about the branding and our tagline, and then we can go from there. And think about potential partnerships, think about events, think about venues, think outside the box. But social media is a very affordable way for us to be out there, really focusing on Santa Clara. Because as far as everyone knows right now, the games are in San Francisco or San Jose. They're not sure where they are, but there's nobody, even the Bay Area Host Committee doesn't mention Santa Clara. Nobody's mentioning Santa Clara. So we have to do it ourselves. And we're lucky because we actually have the venue that's owned by our public. So that's what I think is unique about us here, having that. So I want to go to my colleagues because I talk too much.
It's your turn.
Albert, it's in your district. Your district is going to have the benefit, but also the pain. You're going to have the pain, Albert.
One of the things, I mean, I think it's going to be citywide though. Some of the things that challenges we're going to be dealing with. And I think that we want to make sure, like I mentioned earlier, that we want to have the community benefit from this. And we've already heard of an instance, the first game on the 13th, and I was there last year for my son's commencement, and I'll be there in 2 years for my youngest ones. But that's a special day for those parents and those students. So how do we make sure that when things like this arise, that we make sure that we can address, the needs of our community, whether it's the university in this case or some other venue, to make sure that we don't negatively impact folks, right? I mean, there's going to be some impact, but let's try to make it at least as possible. So that's just kind of what's working in my mind. But yeah, as we do this and we come through rebranding and have some new hashtag, and if you go to the center of what's possible, that's Santa Clara is only made possible right now. But what is it going to be for our new branding? But that's the one thing I was thinking about as far as just making sure that we as least as possible impact folks, and how do we squeeze everything out of this as far as the benefit from this as well.
I'm curious with Santa Clara University, it's happening the same day as the first World Cup game. So you've been told there's no police support. Is that it? So what are you going to do? I'm curious.
Well, there's not going to be police support for like 5 days before.
Oh, okay.
So we're just going to be very prepared. We have, we have our own public safety, and I think we're concerned about traffic and some of the things that go beyond our campus.
Those are the things we also will be concerned about, is the area around the university, because we know what happens around graduations and other things. And they can't go into the neighborhood. They can't enforce in the neighborhood. It's only on campus. It's our police. We have to make sure that is covered.
And when
For the residents that live in the old quad. I don't know. We have to work on that, Howie. So thanks for bringing that to our attention.
when the police came, they did show us parades that took place in Los Gatos, and the point that they were making is that the impacts go beyond Santa Clara. They will affect all of the communities around here. There will be activities throughout the Bay Area, even for their fun places, and so we won't be able to
Double badge
with other cities for their public safety. But we've looked at it a lot. We think we're going to be able to pull it off. We are concerned about the safety on the day, but we're also concerned about the student behavior our students are wonderful and
Of course they are.
everybody.
Don't drink, they don't party, they don't do anything.
Everybody.
Right.
Um, Pardon me?
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I would say is the university has a lot of assets, including our students. I know that the students are taxed, but there are assets as well. And there are student groups that could participate in some of the youth activity or some of the, yeah, Kelly mentioned this before, some of the, attempts to make sure that all the community can participate and so there's, I think, some free labor that's possible. I'm sitting here thinking, wouldn't it be great for some of our student filmmakers to do a documentary
Right.
on either the planning or the activities? The art exhibit at the museum just sounds fantastic to me, but there's other things that our students could do. So I hope, you'll think about the university as an asset in terms of the campus, but it's also an asset in terms
When I saw you walk in today, I was really excited that Santa Clara is involved because you are a big part of the community and your students are a big part of our community. And I think they're underutilized in terms of things and their involvement in the community. And many of them stay and live here after they graduate as well, find their jobs here and want to be part of the community. So I think it's a fabulous asset for us, especially in these games. And they're the experts at social media, everything in 15-second, little blurts. Right? So thank you so much for offering that.
Well, this is a once in a lifetime thing. I mean, it's not just FIFA itself would be a once in a lifetime thing. The Super Bowl itself would be a lifetime thing, but this is a once in a lifetime opportunity in a period of time. It's gonna challenge, but so much that could happen here.
And I think people will remember this for the rest of their lives, and all your students are going to say, hey, I was there when this happened, because when again is this ever going to happen to have these events? And it's right here in Santa Clara. So I want to talk about our next steps and what we do when we come back, because I think all of us are going to have some homework to do. Let's talk about, think about what themes resonated with you today, what specific opportunities you think deserve deeper exploration. We're all just throwing things out and we're going to continue to throw things out. Who else in the community we should be talking to? And what questions should we be asking? And also, if you have ideas, if you can bring them back for our taglines. Our staff has given us some really good ones, but maybe can you put those back up again? But come back with something and let's really decide on something at our next meeting. I think we really should, so that we can get started. And then maybe through the university or someone can create a visual for us, some creative person, organization, somebody can create something visual for us, because I can see it like it happened before on banners and all of our collateral materials, and something that we can really, we can draw from, to really explore, especially social media, to really get to everyone in our community.
Real quick, did
Yes.
anybody reach out to Shay Salinas? He does a lot with the Santa Clara soccer as well as former Earthquake. And he would probably be somebody that, if I can reach out to him as well.
Yeah, he's going to be at the first event, the unveiling of
but
the,
to help out in here to get.
no,
Let me stop by his house. I'll talk to him.
yeah, talk to him about it. Yeah, because the youth sports groups needs to be involved. And we have the soccer park and the Reed Street Soccer Park as well, especially for World Cup stuff. for the kids. Yeah, we can have events in our own facilities there until they lock them down. We can't get to them. So, so there's that. So does anybody else have any, Kelly?
I had one
thoughts
more
or go
point
ahead.
here. I mentioned I'm a history geek, and many of you may not know how amazing Santa Clara is as far as Olympians, as far as sports. Steve Nash. I mean, there are so many greats that came from Santa Clara, and this is like an opportunity to the world to be as surprised as a lot of people are when they find this out, that all these great athletes and Olympians were created in this little bitty city. So I felt like in the parade, if we can invite them as grand marshals or just have a huge social media event around them, like, you know, these people came from Santa Clara, you know, and that would educate the whole world because they really don't think, they're not completely unaware of that about Santa Clara. So we want to remind them of our sports history.
Anna, do you think you can work on a list I know there's a lot.
There's a lot.
I know there's a lot, but at least I know many are in the Santa Clara Unified School District Hall of Fame, Santa Clara University Hall of Fame, Swim
probably
Center Hall of
100.
Fame, Aquamaids or not, artistic swimming, soccer, we have Brandy.
Yeah, Brandy, yes. From Santa Clara U. Yeah, she was our first grand marshal for the parade in 2019.
Julie Ertz, yeah, there's quite a few. And the ones, you know, maybe we focus on one event for them or, you know, something.
Or the
we
sports
can-
section of the parade would be great. So the
I'm
people.
not thinking just the parade, but
Yeah.
in any other event
Any
as
other
well.
event, having access to these athletes would be phenomenal.
Right, yeah.
The other thing that's in my head is that you're going to have some very notable people here for all these events. So figuring out who is going to be here and how to invite them to participate in things, I think has real potential.
I've asked our city manager to engage with the Office of Protocol, with the State Office of Protocol. So we'll see, trying to work on that too, because they always get notice of who's coming and to work on that as well. Go ahead. Because we have people at home listening. Thanks.
Something I was thinking about as you were talking about like community and branding and the vision is it might be cool to actually go out to the community. So we'll provide them a prompt, right? Based on whatever the events are that we're working through, provide a prompt and go out to the community and have them actually design, right, your branding. And so that way it's like rooted and community led and bred. Just a thought or an idea.
I love that. We talked about that earlier. Do we have time for that?
We could. I think.
Yeah, I love it.
Just a thought.
No, I think it's a great thought.
One, but yeah.
Yeah. Putting it out. Is staff, is that something we can?
Yeah, we can take a look and see what the timeline is. I know we're trying to roll something out in the fall with branding. But if we
What are we, June?
We're in
We have-
June.
we have
So
a
if we
couple
come back
months.
in by July and hopefully have an idea of what it would be and then maybe put that out for the public to be able to participate.
Yeah, people are really creative. They really are, especially young people. So.
Cultural Commission used to do an art competition. We were on the Cultural Commission, and I think with all those list of concerts I just handed over, that would be a great place to collect.
Oh, yes, go ahead. Oh, did you want to talk? Kim does, yeah. And our Parks Department, thank you for being here today. All right, I want to respect people's time, so.
I just have a housekeeping
yes.
item, which is if you are here, make sure you sign in on the sign-in sheet that's been around. If you didn't sign in, please make sure you do before you leave.
Thank you, since you are our stakeholders and we own you now. No, I'm kidding. We really need you here and I really appreciate you all taking your time to come. So I just want to say at the end of this meeting is that my promise is this is all going to be community driven. I think that's the only way that this is going to be successful. And whatever we do is going to be a collection of all of your wisdom putting it together to have these events. And then it's going to be our job to go to the city council to try to get the funding for some of it if we can't get it sponsored, right, guys? Yeah. But we're going to be planning these events and a marketing campaign, which is, I think it's really exciting. But for our next meeting, we'll send out information. So as long as we have all of your information, we can get it out. We're trying to do Mondays, probably starting maybe at 4 in the future. I know people are working and it's a little bit harder, but we'll try to keep these meetings as short and succinct as possible to respect your time. Yes.
Just to follow up, we do have it online as well. So if you're not able to attend in person, please do listen on Zoom.
And I'm going to ask that, I know that we're here now, but I'd like in the future for us to meet in different places in Santa Clara. I love the library, so I'm hoping Patty can support us there. And then we have other venues in Santa Clara. There's a venue out at one of the developments in the new Clara district that said, hey, for a meeting room, if you want to do it. So let's try to meet in different places around town so everybody also can get to know, what's available. Maybe the Triton Museum too, at some point with the soccer balls.
I have an in with the director.
Okay, very good. That's fantastic. So we're looking at, if we can, a couple weeks from now on a Monday. So anything else from anyone?
I had one question about the 6 acres that the city owns in the downtown, if we can repurpose that for a night market event or some kind of multicultural foodie event, because there's so much multiculturalism in Santa Clara alone. I'm Portuguese, I can vouch for that, but it's pretty impressive, the type of cuisine we have. So that could be a fun area.
It's a good area, I think, even for concerts. And
Yeah,
things as well, because then we can engage the university students as well in there. So
It's close to the university. How about a huge wrap on that ugly brown building?
who owns that ugly brown building? The city. That would be our first test wrap.
Yes, we should do
Perfect.
that. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Anybody else?
I was just gonna say, we're exploring that site. So about what to do with,
Do something
on
there.
that parking lot. So, yep.
Okay, so everyone, you're going to come back with some ideas for us. And if you have anyone else that you would like to invite to this meeting that you think is important to invite, please just let us know. Any of us up here or staff know. And we'll be happy to bring them on. All right. Yes. Oh, meeting adjourned? All right, okay, adjourned, all in favor? Aye, meeting's adjourned. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.